For the past few days, the Nubia Z50 Ultra has been the center of attention. The first non-gaming Nubia smartphone to use an under-screen selfie camera has now been official. Yes, Nubia is currently consuming the ZTE parent company's recipe. While the majority of firms are content with their punch-hole cameras, ZTE is constantly working to make the under-screen camera system better. The most recent gadget to include this technology is the Nubia Z50 Ultra, which also includes a set of specially developed rear cameras that can compete with well-known DSLR cameras. Both the main Nubia smartphone line and the Red Magic Gaming sub-brand are owned by the same company. The Z50 Ultra, the series' flagship, is the topic of our discussion today. Yes, it's not straightforward, but it's in the colors of Starry Night, a reference to the well-known Van Gogh painting. Yes, that looks good. That's not all, though. You only need to glance at the display to see that there is a front camera there. Here's where I'd like to start. I'll start with the design, which is also unconventional. I'd even go so far as to call it savage. The smartphone looks like a flat bar from the outside. The front has a fully flat display with almost symmetrical and extremely small bezels, and the edges are straight with a matte surface. The term offers absolutely no defense against moisture and dust. The iconic Van Gogh painting can be seen in the pattern behind a massive block of cameras. An IR sensor and speaker are located above, while a USB-C 3.1 port, a second speaker, and 2 nano SIM slots are located below. The red corrugated power button, the higher volume rocker, and the much higher slider, which automatically opens and closes the camera, are all located on the right. The smartphone's ergonomics hardly qualify as comfortable. The smartphone is unsure in the hand, especially with the full bumper, which barely shields the corners. Since the bumper is made of translucent plastic and does not look great, a designing solution was also required. The front 6.8-inch screen panel, made by BOE, fills the majority of the front section. OLED Matrix has a frame rate of 120 Hz and a touch layer refresh rate of 960 Hz, according to its specifications. It boasts 1500 nits of maximum brightness, full DCI-P3 gamut coverage, and 10-bit color depth. 1440 Hz is the PWM flicker frequency. What about the front then? As shown by the cutout in the factory film, in the exact spot, in the middle. However, you won't even notice it if you take it off. Already in its fourth iteration, ZTE and Nubia have had a remarkably successful partnership. It only appears against a white background. Nevertheless, I would commend Nubia because they are making an effort. The advancement is apparent, and only 3 years have elapsed since the initial version's unveiling. While ZTE is still new, large companies with identical patents do not make any releases. Inside the premium Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chip, which was made utilizing a 4nm manufacturing technique. 4 memory combinations are available: 8 and 256, 12 and 256, 12 and 512 gigs, and the top model with 16 gigs of RAM and a 1TB with UFS 4.0. The indicators should perform admirably in tests. In the single-core and multi-core tests of Geekbench 6, the device receives 1900 and 5200 points, respectively. There are 1,240,000 in Antutu. The battery has a 5000 mAh capacity. PC Mark submitted as much as 12.5 hours of work for the test, which is ridiculous and may have given false results, in my opinion. However stunning. The 80-watt adapter that comes with the battery takes 40 minutes to completely charge. Of course, the plug is Chinese. You need to purchase an adapter. The inclusion of 2 adapters at once made me happy, though. However, the cameras are not very surprising. The primary sensor is a Sony IMX787 with a 35mm focal length and 64 megapixels, with an aperture of f1.6, and supports optical stabilization, as well as phase and laser autofocus. The second module, an 85mm telephoto lens, has 64 megapixels as well, although it is already darker, and has an aperture of just f3.3. The sensor offers a 3.3x optical zoom and image stabilization. Lastly, ultra-wide by 50 megapixels with a 116-degree viewing angle. Nothing particularly amazing in terms of visual quality. They fell well short of the flagships. Good pictures may be taken quickly, but before the iPhone and even more so before the Pixel, there was the moon. However, the aperture lens performs very well at night. The width is not very wide during both the day and the night, albeit this only pertains to the primary sensor and the telephoto. I, however, like the macro. Although Nubia has a global PR department that regularly distributes news releases, the company is now exclusively operating in the Chinese market. However, the Nubia Z50 Ultra is now primarily designed for the Chinese market, as indicated by the abundance of local software and languages. The only foreign language is English. Inside the MyOS on Android 13, Google services don't exist, but you can install it. To accomplish this, select a specific service which in the settings, download the store's app, and presto, everything is functional. The smartphone deserves credit for its audacity in introducing the front camera, as well as for its rigid design, vibrant colors, autonomy, and hardware. The absence of wireless charging and moisture protection, subpar cameras, uncomfortable ergonomics, and a lack of market adoption are some of the drawbacks. Who am I kidding? Not everyone wants a smartphone like that because Nubia isn't all that well known in the world. Although I personally know at least one brand devotee and have long followed the business, I sincerely hope that they won't stop there. Thank you for watching, have a nice day and see you soon.